Welcome in. If you're looking for a shortcut to being genuinely well-informed, you're in exactly the right place. Today, we're getting into something that's incredibly personal and surprisingly simple. We're talking about creating your own signature scent with essential oils.
It's such an interesting area, isn't it? It really connects these, ancient practices with a very modern kind of self-expression. We've been looking at this fantastic article that lays out how to craft your own custom colognes and perfumes from scratch.
And the thing that grabbed me right away was this idea the author brought up, this concept of synthetic fragrance fatigue.
Mm.
You know that smell when
Yeah.
you're in a crowded room or maybe at the airport duty-free,
Yeah.
and there's just this sense of overkill.
Oh, absolutely. The blog points out that so many of the big mass market fragrances all pull from this surprisingly small group of really strong synthetic ingredients. They even name a few, like ambroxan and iso-E super, and then, of course, the classic bergamot.
Right. And it's not that those ingredients are bad. I mean, they're powerful for a good reason. If you're a formulator, you know that those synthetics, especially something like ambroxan, are amazing chemical fixatives. They're cheap, they are incredibly strong, and they make the scent last for hours.
That's the whole point.
Wow.
They make a product that's, economically superior, but it ends up being olfactorily uniform. When every single cologne is built on that same super stable synthetic base,
Everyone just ends up smelling the same. There's no identity to it.
Exactly. So the real appeal here with essential oils isn't just that they're natural, it's about total customization. You get to control what you're putting on your skin, and the scent tells your story. It's more expression than just, decoration.
And what's great is that getting started is so easy. You don't need a lab or anything.
No, not at all. A few basic things and a bit of curiosity.
So let's talk about those first steps. The author frames it almost like you're cooking, but with sense. It makes it feel really approachable.
It is. So you start with your base, and you basically have two main choices. First is your classic alcohol-based spray. For that, you'd use a high-proof alcohol, like ethanol or even Everclear, and mix it with some distilled water.
And that alcohol is what gives it that projection, right? The big cloud of scent.
That's it. Projection is all about volatility. Alcohol evaporates super fast, and as it leaves the skin, it carries all those scent molecules with it. That's why a spray cologne can kind of fill a room.
Okay. And the second option.
That would be an oil-based roller blend. You use it. Carrier oil jojoba is a great one, or fractionated coconut oil.
So what's the advantage there? Is it just simpler?
It's simpler, but the main thing is longevity and, well, intimacy. Oil doesn't evaporate like alcohol does. It sits on the skin and releases the scent much more slowly over a longer period. So you get a fragrance that lasts, but it stays really close to you. It's a much more personal experience.
That's a really key distinction. And then the law gets into these practical tips that I think really make a difference. The first one being take notes.
Oh, I cannot stress that enough. If you spend an hour mixing, 4 drops of this and 6 of that, and you nail it, you have to write it down. I once made this perfect blend, got distracted, forgot the formula, and tried to recreate it. I was off by 1 single drop of patchouli.
Oh, no.
And it completely changed it. It went from this warm, woody scent to something that just smelled like damp soil. It was so frustrating.
A good lesson, though. And the author also says, be creative. If a blend doesn't work as a perfume, don't throw it out.
Right. Maybe it's a car freshener now or a room spray. It's never a total waste.
That permission to fail is so important.
It is. And speaking of good practice, it's probably worth mentioning that the blog we're talking about is from 420formulator.com. It's run by Mike Harmon, who is a real specialist in skincare, and especially in cannabis skincare formulation. So when you see this kind of precise advice, you know it's coming from someone who really, really knows their stuff.
That definitely gives the advice a lot of weight. Okay, so let's get to the inspiration. The writer talks about 6 scent profiles they developed that they just adored. You'll have to go to the site for the exact drop counts, but we can talk about the mood they were building with each one.
Yeah, and this is where the artistry comes in, right? Using oils as top, middle, and base notes to create an actual experience.
Let's start with the first one. The Fresh Citrus Burst. This one uses bergamot, lemon, and petit grain.
A total classic. Your lemon is that super sharp top note. It's what you smell first, and it fades the fastest. Bergamot is also a top note, but it's a little more complex. The real magic ingredient here, though, is the petit grain.
What does that do for the blend?
Well, petit grain comes from the leaves and twigs of the bitter orange tree, not the fruit. So it has this slightly bitter green, almost woody quality. It works to kind of anchor those really fleeting citrus notes, so the whole thing doesn't just disappear in 10 minutes. It gives it structure.
The effect sounds so refreshing, like a bright morning.
Exactly. Now, for the complete opposite vibe, you've got the warm spiced wood. The blog notes this one is specifically for an oil-based blend.
Which suggests it's meant to be a skin scent, something close and personal.
Right. It uses cedarwood, cinnamon, and vanilla. Cedarwood is your deep, woody base note. It's what makes the scent last. Then the cinnamon and vanilla come in as these warm, cozy middle notes. The whole idea is to create a feeling, like you're wrapped in a blanket on a cool night.
That sounds incredible. Okay, next up is the Floral Garden Dream. Rose, lavender, and jasmine. Some people might find florals a little intimidating for a cologne.
But these florals are so complex. Rose and jasmine aren't just sweet. They have these spicy, sometimes almost metallic notes to them. In this blend, the lavender would act as a kind of bridge, calming everything down and balancing the richness of the other two. I feel very delicate, very romantic.
Like walking through a garden, just like the name says. Now for something different, the Earthy Herbal Essence. This one caught my eye. It's rosemary, clary sage, and peppermint.
Oh, that's a fantastic combination for grounding and waking you up at the same time. Rosemary and clary sage are these deep, almost savory herbal notes. They connect you to the outdoors. And then that hit of peppermint comes in as a really crisp top note that just cuts right through and lifts the whole thing up.
I can almost smell it. Then there's the exotic spice blend, which is another oil-based one. Sandalwood, clove, and patchouli. That just screams adventure.
It really does. Sandalwood is another one of those amazing creamy base notes. It's the smooth foundation. Then you get the intrigue from the clove and patchouli. Clove is sharp and warm, and patchouli brings that deep, earthy sweetness. A perfect evening scent.
And to round it out, the Ocean Breeze Escape. This one is eucalyptus, spearmint, and lemon.
And this is such a clever way to create a concept. None of those oils actually smell like the ocean.
Right.
But the eucalyptus and spearmint give you that sharp, cool, almost medicinal feeling, like a cold breeze. Then the lemon adds the brightness. Together, they create the sensation of being by the sea on a hot day.
That variety is just amazing. But here's where, for me, it got really interesting taking these blends beyond just being a perfume.
This is the big takeaway, I think. Once you have your perfect little blend of pure essential oils, before you've added any alcohol or carrier oil, you can take that pure blend and use it to fragrance other things you're making.
So if you already make, say, your own body butter or a lotion bar,
Or a CBD oil even, you can add your custom scent to it, and suddenly you've elevated that product into something totally bespoke and high-end.
the blog mentions using them in shea body butter and even CBD massage candles. It turns a simple DIY into a signature item.
It does. And it gives a really critical piece of information for how to do that safely. It gives a ratio. It notes that about 20 drops of essential oil is roughly 1% of a 100-gram formulation.
And that 1% figure is really important, isn't it?
It's crucial. It's not just a random number. It actually aligns with general dermal safety limits for most leave-on products. You want to stay under certain concentrations to avoid irritating the skin, and 1% is a really good, safe starting point for a lot of oils. It connects the creative side right back to the science of safe formulation.
Okay, so you've made your perfect blend, you've calculated your ratios, now you have to protect it. All that work is for nothing if it degrades in a month.
And this is where we get into the practical side of preservation, based on the author's own experience.
We've all done it, right? Stored something nice in the bathroom cabinet.
And that's exactly where natural fragrances go to die. The first, most important thing is your container. The blog is really clear about this. Use glass. Essential oils are powerful enough that they can actually leach chemicals out of some plastics, which will ruin your scent. And you need an airtight seal.
Why is the seal so vital?
It's all about oxygen. Oxygen is the great enemy of essential oils because it causes oxidation. It reacts with the chemicals in the oils and literally breaks them down into new compounds that smell off or just flat. An airtight seal minimizes that exposure.
And it's not just the air, it's also light and heat.
Yep, they're basically accelerators for all that chemical breakdown. Heat speeds up oxidation, and UV light can cause its own kind of damage. That's why the advice is always the same. Store it, cool and dark.
So not in the bathroom where the temperature goes up and down with every shower.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
And using those dark amber or cobalt blue glass bottles really helps. It's like sunglasses for your oils.
These aren't just little suggestions. They're based on solid chemistry to make sure your creation actually lasts.
They are.
So what we've really talked about today is that making your own fragrance is so much more than just mixing some nice smells. It's this really personal, science-informed process that lets you step away from that synthetic uniformity of the mass market.
It's about wearing something that actually reflects you. It's really empowering, moving from just being a consumer to being a creator.
Well, if you feel inspired and you want to try mixing any of those 6 blends we talked about,
Mm.
and remember the full drop-by-drop recipes are on the blog, or if you just want more free skincare formulations, you should definitely go check out 420formulator.com.